Getting under these old vehicles is a lot of fun, especially one that's as clean as this one. You can see the original designs from 70, 80 years ago, and you can see where they've carried into modern stuff kind of seamlessly in some cases, but in other cases, drastic changes. I mean, if we look at this, we've got an I-beam front end here, and those have been carried over with leaf springs and kind of standard shocks. You still have modern trucks, like big heavy-duty trucks with similar designs, although there's a lot of detail changes. Now, when you're under an old car like this, get yourself a flashlight and really go through and inspect, especially all the joints. You want to pry on things, look for things that are worn, that are loose, especially like these tie rods. This is a toe link here connecting both sides. And you can see that we've got exposed areas there where we can get dirt and debris and wear them out. Now, opposed to the old school stuff, I mean, obviously we've got better seals, but internally we've got higher strength steels, better precision, so things last a lot longer. We even have rubber isolation. So this is off of our new truck, so it shows you the difference. We've got a double A-arm in the new one, beam axle in the old one. Now, we'll work our way down, make a list, look for little stuff that we need to order, and Willie's covering the back end of this thing.
A big jump, big comfort is where this shock has evolved. Now understand, this shock looks the same as what you would see in a shock today. Maybe not these little, cylinder ribs in it, but the shock itself, black, it's tubed. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, there's some real big advances in the technology for shocks. If you think about the early shocks, they used to put leather pieces together, sandwiched between bronze, and oiled leather, and they clamp them together, and that friction was what would slow down the oscillations from a spring. So a spring is pretty much a spring, but the control is where the shock plays in. Well, the modern twin tube, and you can see this cartridge here, there's actually a tube inside of a tube. Now they both contain fluid, so I'll show you this clear cutaway, which is kind of neat. So again, we've still got the tube inside the tube, and this piston's running on the inside one. Now you're trying to keep the excess air, in this case we went to nitrogen to minimize the aeration. So you're trying to keep all the nitrogen on this outside so it doesn't affect so much what's going on with these valves. Now if I move this back and forth, right, I can see this piston down here, and there's a whole series of stacked plates acting like valves, so I can do some high speed, some low speed, high impact type of control. And when I go upwards, this is controlling most of the rebound, and when I go downwards, the valving in here is controlling most of the compression. So again, there's a lot of technology just in trying to keep those air bubbles separated, kind of like bleeding your brakes. And again, there's another layer of technology on top of the shocks, electronic stability control. So you really want your shock to be stable and do a specific job, so then stability control could come on top and make sure you're nice and safe in sort of emergency situations. So kind of neat progression from the old school to the new school. I'm going to go to order a couple parts here. We've got a few suspension parts that are worn out, ball joints, the toe link. So we're going to order a couple of Moog parts, get the shocks on, keep on rolling.
All right, under 1949 Chevy pickup truck, most people would consider themselves lucky to have a black and white TV in their living room. A lot of things have changed. Just looking at this plug, we found one from a Model T, big husky guy. And here's one that we're actually going to replace in our truck today. And this is the kind of plug you're going to see in a lot of rides, like that 2014 GMC out front. Now, the spark energy that these things produce, much more with this little guy than it was with the earlier generations. And a lot of things you're going to see, like this fuel system. Look at the delivery system and how they cleaned it back in the day. For example, air filter. This used to be horsehair. Now it's some fiber in here. Obviously that's evolved a little bit. And then you reveal the one barrel right here. Now this is a low pressure system, okay? It's a carburetor. It's gonna have fuel in here. High velocity air is gonna come through here, pull it down in that plenum and atomize it and then burn it up. And this is a high pressure system, fuel injector. And then we evolved to this guy today, right?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So this is, TechSmart's replacement part for the truck out in the parking lot. It's an electronic throttle body. So there's no cable to it. But when you push the pedal, you're not actually controlling this directly. But what's neat about it is because the computer's smart, it can do a lot of additional things. So let's look at idle air bypass, okay. Right? So even throttle bodies with a cable on them used to have an idle air bypass. So let's say you start an engine cold. Once it gets hot, the idle starts to climb, and then it's harder to get into gear and things like that. Well, what about when you start the AC? You put a load on the engine and the idle drops. Well, the throttle and the computer can control the opening and keep all that stuff steady. It can find the right fuel economy point for when you're cruising. And it can even do things like close the throttle to reduce torque when you're going to do a shift. So it makes a smoother shift. Yep, it makes the transmission last longer. It's more durable. So there's a lot of really cool functionality in the simplest thing, like a throttle body. So interesting that you still are controlling the air with a throttle body, but we're doing it in such interesting and unique ways.
But look, 90 horsepower, 300 and change here.
Yeah,
Big difference, man.
Let's get these spark plugs in. I know we got some belts. We're going to dress the inside of this engine compartment, but we're also going to dress up some of the outside of the truck too.
Hey, welcome back to you guys' garage. Still on our 49 truck, but now we're getting to the fun part. Now we're going to dress it up and make it pretty.
How's this thing going? About ready to drop this on your head or what?
About time you got here, bro. I'm telling you.
All right, now we got a nice looking grill here, but you know what? This truck has a lot of brown on it.
Hey, man.
Now, this thing needs a little bit of pop. It's going to be more of a show truck. We want it to look good. So we hooked up with our friends at Chevs of the 40s. Now they have everything you need for Chevys back from 37 to 54. And when I say everything,
they have over 800,000 parts. Oh, yeah. So you can find just about anything you need.
all right. Now, anything you need, give the guys at Chevs of the 40s a call, because they've been doing this for a really long time. I mean, 32 years so far. They know everything about these old trucks and cars and Chevy.
That's going to pop, man.
Yeah.
Bring that bumper over here. Let's just hang it up here and take a look.
Let's check it out.
Dude.
So the new chrome bumper to go with it.
Flossy, flossy. All right, welcome back. Now just getting a step plate put on a running board. Again, another accessory from Chevs of the 40s. I'm gonna go back here and hang this rear bumper. And Kev, what are you, playing stereo in there? Playing DJ?
That's right, man, that's right. This thing is gonna look pretty good. Now we didn't want to put a modern stereo in here, and we definitely didn't want to cut the dash up. So we found a really cool, old school looking stereo unit that we can put in here, and that's gonna mount up like that. And I'll show you this thing, because we're gonna get more than just AM radio out of it. Now the front may look old school, but if you look really close, you got your menu buttons, your modes, so there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. So if you kick around to the back side, this is from Custom Auto Sound. This is a 300-watt modern stereo system. It comes with a USB port and a docking for an iPod, but it's also compatible with Bluetooth and a 6-disc changer, which we're both going to put in the car too. So with that in there, we're routing our speakers. You can do just a 6x9 single speaker, kind of like in the old days, but we're going to upgrade that too. So we've got a System 1 setup here. You got satellite speakers. You can put these anywhere you want, and they look kind of old school, like an old AC register. We can mount them in here and aim them how we like, but more than just some little small speakers. We're adding also with the system, we've got a fully amplified sub that's going to go under the seat, right along with our 6-disc changer. So this is going to get wired up. The one thing you got to make sure is if you've got a 6-volt system and a 12-volt stereo, you need to put a transformer in it and hop it up. So let me finish this, get it all wired up, so we'll have that nice sound for that next 1,100-mile trip. Come on, man, polish that thing up.
I'm getting it, man.
Look at that. Looks nice, huh?